The drink, we're clicking to the environment. We're clicking to the environment. We're drinking to the environment. Yes.
And we are back with the drink sustainability. I'm your host, as always, Ted Wingender III. And with me today is the legendary food scientist herself, Allie Wiedeke.
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good.
How are you since we last saw each other?
Since we last saw each other 5 seconds ago.
Been a while.
Been a really long time.
So, on this short segment, we are going to just briefly talk about some. Where are you? It was fish farmed food versus wild food, and by that I mean, well, the specific question is the difference in, is there any nutritional I can't talk right now.
Is there any difference in nutritional value?
Yes. Is there any difference in nutritional value regarding wild caught fish and farmed fish?
Yes.
That is a hugely broad question, but it's also a loaded question.
Super
So
broad.
we will take our time explaining.
But like the point blank is yes, there is a difference. If you want to talk about farm raised salmon in particular, it's usually, according to honestly the USDA database, it's higher in calories and higher in saturated fats. It's lower in protein, and also persistent organic pollutants have been found to be up to 16 times higher in farm-raised fish, according to the Cleveland Clinic. All well within acceptable levels. Like, you're not gonna get messed up by that, to be clear, unless you're, I don't know, if you eat enough of it to do some damage, you're gonna have a lot of other problems like cholesterol, and which shouldn't be a problem in fish, but it would be if you ate that much.
Wait, so you're saying that farm raised fish versus wild caught fish, farm raised is less dense in protein and stuff like that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So farm raised salmon has more fat, more calories, and not just your omega-3 fats, it has more saturated fats.
Okay,
yeah.
Right.
In a 3-ounce portion, there's roughly 50 more calories per 3 ounces. And so, to be fair, that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. If you're keto and you want to have more fat, you might want to go for a farm raised product. But also,
well,
when you actually want to
look
go
at
for
it
wild,
from a sustainability standpoint, you also want to consider that we can't fish enough fish for you to consume strictly whatever salmon or that you specifically want. If we didn't have farms, we wouldn't have the ability to get people the products. And so that's always a huge thing that I want to bring up whenever I talk about the difference. While it may exist, it's not the only thing that matters necessarily. If you're looking at it, it's still a perfectly safe and healthy option to eat. It has nutrients that you need, and frankly, you don't have the capability to and understanding. Well, you may and I may, but everyone on this planet doesn't have the brain space, in my humble opinion, to know every single fact about everything at all times.
No,
right?
definitely not.
And so with that in mind, the reason we have farm raised fish is because we would be causing serious damage to the ecosystem. if you were to feed the population as is. Like, we do have a necessity for it. Also, if you have anyone more things that you should totally like put a link in like your bio or whatever about, there's an app and a website called Seafood Watch, seafoodwatch.org. And so it's a really, really easy resource to just look up literally while you're in the grocery store if you want to be more sustainable and you're worried about that and you think, I can't possibly know all of these things because it's literally impossible. There's an app for that. and yeah. And so you can look up where it's from, is it farm raised, if it's not, and it'll tell you if it's, you know, something that you should necessarily be consuming.
That's actually pretty cool.
And is it sustainable? And that way there's like a really just easy, simple way for you to just be like, like, is this better for me? Is this... So if you don't know what you're looking for and you want to feel better about yourself, I would just go for that route. Just like download a quick app and like check it in the grocery store. Like,
so it's kind of like when I mean, for people that are, you know, less wine enthusiasts, such as I like to, you know, on I think it's some Barefoot labels and some other brands, they actually on the back of it say like, you know, is it bitter? Is it like sweet? Or, you know, they have that scale. So this conceptually, it's the same for that app, correct?
Yeah, same for that app, except it's not brand specific necessarily. It has more to do with like farmers or whatever. Which
but it'll tell you like where
if it's farm raised, if it's wild, nutrition facts, all the kind of things. So then you're not like, you know, going home looking it up for your kids and stuff, being like, did I just buy the right stuff? Like, what, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's like very in a snap, which is crazy to think about now because, you know, in terms of resources and getting the information, everything is like this. It's at the tip of your fingertips, literally.
Yeah. I think it's a really wonderful thing though. Like,
oh yeah, it definitely is.
I have no brainwaves for knowing every single minute by minute changing for all of these different items, but there is an app, there's a website, there are resources that can give you this. But back to the nutrition side of it,
right?
Yeah, farm raised. It doesn't matter if it's salmon or tilapia or whatnot. They are typically going to be, the farm raised is higher in calories and saturated fats, and lower in protein. But again, it's not. It's not so significant that I would really care about it unless you were.
So say like if like you were, say, I don't know, a bodybuilder or something like that, like you're a gym rat and you're like, well, I want the most protein, less fat, and all that kind of stuff. It sounds like you're kind of leaning toward wild caught.
You know. Then yes, I would lean towards the wild caught. But if you're just the average Joe who's in the grocery store wanting to make an informed decision,
which most of us are.
Which is most of us. It's me, it's you, it's, you know, then yeah, the difference is so negligible. They're both perfectly safe to eat. They're both perfectly healthy to eat. And unless, you know, you're trying to really watch your macros, it's not something that I would really think is necessary to worry about.
So like so pretty much what you're saying is there's not a huge, you know, like difference in nutritional value, but I mean, if you're trying to say be a gym rat, then yeah, go obviously with wild caught. Or if you're the average Joe, like, yeah, do, you know, lean toward that, but either one, there's not really a huge significant difference in nutritional value.
Exactly.
Very cool. I guess the only other like kind of separating factor is if you're trying to go for, you know, oh, I pay for some tilapia because I have a lot of money. I mean, that's like, well, because even when you go to a restaurant and you always see tilapia, it's always more expensive than the other stuff. However, most of 90% of the time, the only reason, I mean, based on my experience and based on what, you know, information I've gathered from working in the seafood industry, the only the only couple reasons why tilapia is actually more expensive and I guess more prestigious to buy is because
The
process
process
Considering it's a bottom
is
feeder.
more complex.
Like
Yeah.
more than half of that fish is bone.
Yeah.
There's very little meat,
and
and
the meat. To my don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that the meat is leaner, but it's very little amount. That's why it costs so much. So if you're like, yo, I'm gonna go get some tilapia, get some tilapia for dinner. Yes, it's a lot of fish. This kind of fish does have a lot, protein in it, but in terms of being prestigious and saying that you bought tilapia because you want to sound fancy, don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think that tilapia is that fancy. I mean, I think that the main purpose for buying tilapia in the first place is like easy. It's super easy to like cook. It's super easy to work with.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
true, yeah.
firm, flaky, not super firm, but it's like a flaky fish, and it kind of just takes on the flavor of anything you want. It's not a very fishy fish. It's like
No,
it's
it's
like
not.
the chicken of the sea.
And
And also just to
give you a perspective, because I never knew this until I started working with tilapia. A tilapia fish, like an average size, is probably, if I could get my speaker out, it's probably like, in terms of width, it's maybe about that big.
Yeah, it's like two hands, right?
Yeah, it's about two hands. I just want to give a more perspective. Like, it's probably about like, I don't know, like roughly 7-8 inches in length.
And it's a bottom feeder.
Actually, it's not totally a bottom feeder. I looked this up.
a couple days ago. So
Yeah, so fun fact, tilapia, they hang around like in terms of levels, like this is the surface of water, this is like the bottom. They hang around in the middle of water where all their food mainly is. However, they get the whole reputation of bottom feeder because there's some times when all their food is not, where they typically are. They'll actually go down to the bottom level and eat some of like the, smaller fish, smaller organisms down there. But they are not actually bottom feeders. It's not totally true.
That's fascinating.
yeah,
I just thought that that was the reason that their eyes migrated.
that their eyes migrated.
Yeah, so when tilapia are born, they have eyes on both sides of their head.
Oh, right. Well, I
I didn't look too. I didn't look too much into
Yeah,
it.
on one
I'll-
when this video is done going through, we'll put all the list of citations down so you guys can,
Yes.
educate yourselves on what we're talking about. But they might be born on the bottom and then kind of rise to the top. We're starting from the bottom, now we're here. Anyway, so I had to throw that reference in.
That can be like that's gonna be the title for this one.
We start from the bottom, now we're here. But we're only talking about
tilapia, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh god. Anyway, oh wow. All right, so we are so that's the whole little nutritional value difference in farm raised and wild caught fish. So we are briefly going to talk about two of the main questions of the evening. Although we'll touch up on the last question another time, only because
Okay.
I have to be at a chiropractor in 15 minutes. So yeah.
It'll take me 3 seconds to answer that last question if you want.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about sustainability and everything on this show, right? I mean, the drink sustainability. There you go. So, what does that term mean to Allie?
Yeah. So just in general, like sustainability to me is just ensuring that we have healthy lives, and not just like my own life, but in any way that I can do that for the people around me. And the main ways that I choose to work on that is through my work. I do have the ability to work with these major corporations, and work on projects that affect us globally. And so anytime that I have the ability to necessarily lean towards something that is better for the environment, however I can pitch it, even if it's pennies on the dollar, those pennies adds up pretty quick when you're looking at hundreds of thousands of items. And so any time that I can convince a company to go with a more sustainable product, to go with a better for the environment, all of these items, that's kind of just where I go for it. And but sustainability is what I take from like the World Health Organization as well, which is just human rights are, everyone's rights and equity over equality.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like how you said equality too. I like that because we need more of that in our life, and it also seems like we are in fact getting to that just day by day.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to focus like not just on equality, but equity. And to look like if you give everyone a bicycle, you are totally equal, but also not everyone can ride a bicycle and not everyone has legs to ride a bicycle, at which point, congrats, we're all equal, but Kyle's still fucked.
Yes.
So I do think it's just really important to focus on it from a holistic standpoint.
Right. No, I like it. And then I was gonna ask you how are you becoming more sustainable, but I mean, I think we kind of already know the answer through all your work that you do, all the awesome work that you've been accomplishing and working on in your career so far.
Yeah, I think that it just truly is like when you have the ability to impact things on a larger scale than just yourself, it's almost becomes significantly more important. Just because your car is idling for 5 minutes, that's not going to do any kind of damage compared to what a major corporation is going to do by transporting our food across the country. And does that mean I don't compost or I do compost? I do compost. I don't plant it in my garden though. I have a composter in my kitchen. It turns my coffee cup into dirt in about 8 hours, and I throw it into the trash can afterwards because I know it's going to end up in a landfill, but that's already dirt and that's going to be easier for the environment. Also, I get to take out the trash less times in a day.
You're so lazy. Just kidding.
Yeah, I think that you need to be able to make sustainability lazy. Like, I think you need to make it easy. Our lives are so complicated and so challenging, and there's so much information and so many different stimuli. I think you need to make it so that it's easy and just, it's not just the only option or the better option or the better for the planet option. Like, you need to make it the
like easy for people to actually execute on.
Exactly.
You said the average Joe. I appreciate the fact that you brought that up because I feel like that is also something that I hope it's in the works where some startup company comes out with a whole like application where it's like a one-stop shop almost where you're like, okay, well, how can typical FAQ where how can I get involved? I'm just me. Well, no, you're not just you. If you get involved and then tell your friend to get involved and then they tell their friend, compound effect. And then next thing you know, you have like a whole team of people doing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And also just tips and little tricks like don't look at the huge picture. Just look at little bits by little bits. That's what I do every single day. I'll write down like, on a notepad on the other side's like I'll write down a notepad like list of things to do and I'm like, oh crap, I really have a lot to do, but I just focus on one, cross it out, focus on one, cross it out. I just focus on and I'm still developing that skill myself, but I agree with what you said where we have to mix convenience and sustainability.
Yeah.
The convenience sustainable. Oh.
Yeah, make sustainability convenient, make it easy, make it
easy. Yeah, exactly.
I think that is the way of the future. I think that's the only way we'll ever get anywhere.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching this show. Again, your host, Ted, on the drink sustainability with the one, the only, the legend herself, Alexandra Wiedeke. Woo! Yeah, woo! Cheers to you, young lady. Thank you very much for being an awesome friend and being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
You too. If I don't see you by Christmas, please have a happy Christmas, Merry Thanksgiving, and all the
Merry Christmas,
Merry everything. As to you all as well, have a happy holiday. Until next time, stay hydrated, be more sustainable, and have fun doing it. Later, guys. See you later, Allie.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching The Drink Sustainability. Warning. As you watch the show, be sure to clink at your own risk. Drinks may not appear the way that they seem.